Hi all, so welcome back to Bootcamp 2021 by TechPledge. We are in module 2 of Azure Administrator. So already we have discussed in the next previous videos about the virtual machine, need, image, purpose, sizings, extensions, everything, right? Now we are into the high availability. Actually, I already have given you the video on high availability architecture, but here because I'm going to discuss about load balancings and the auto scalings, that's why let's again discuss the high availability. So let's go to the next slide, that is all about load balancer. So you would be seeing a new concept here and a new word here, load balancer. Load balancer acts as a network and security boundary for virtual machine. Cloud service URL is mapped to a public IP when there is at least one active virtual machine. So kind of one DNS or one common IP would provide you to all the virtual machines. All external traffic to virtual machine uses this IP. So as you can see in this diagram, there is a one public kind of public face to the outside world. Inside that, two VMs are connected. What is that, right? Okay. For example, let's take example of a website. Okay. If I'm just going and searching Amazon.in, it would open for me. If you're going and searching Amazon.in, it would open for you. There would be no time in between. If I'm just searching, it would open. If you are searching, it would be open. Maybe I'm shooting it from India and I'm searching a particular website and application from India. You are somewhere in US and you are searching it from there. Don't you think so? From every place, this much availability of the servers, how actually who is managing it out, isn't it? Right? So whenever you want to have a connection, actually servers are helping you out. So in the backends of the websites or applications, so many servers are working. But as a user, as a customer, if it is your responsibility to select a healthy server which can respond you, which can redirect you to the particular applications and the website, you would not do that. Manually also one person cannot handle it, obviously. Maybe behind a website, thousands and millions of servers are working, and website itself is just choosing out the healthy server and redirecting the customer from server to the website or to the application. That would be a very tedious task. So actually there is a concept of load balancer. Load balancer, you can see it as a face or front DNS or front public IP to the outside world. In the backend of load balancer, it's kind of a service. In the backend of the load balancer, as many machines you want, you can attach. Now, you know that each and every virtual machine has its own public IP, right? But here, individual identification of each and every machine is not needed because public will see only one common IP. Public will see only one DNS. You as a public, I also don't want to just know that okay, this is the healthy server, this is the public IP, just search it out. No, I just need a common name. I just need a name of website. I just need a complete particular IP that every time I will search that only. So here I don't actually need the individual identification of each and every server. So you can dissociate the public IPs of each and every server, and you can attach all the servers in the backend of the load balancer. Whenever you want, you can hit the particular DNS or to the particular public IP, that is load balancer showing to the outside world, to the public, and it would redirect you to the particular application on the website, irrespective of what virtual machine or what server is helping you out. This would be all the work and the tension of load balancer to choose which is the active server right now to serve you. If you're talking about DevOps, so there are so many tools of the DevOps, they work as load balancer. Earlier there was Docker Swarm, but there are certain limitations with Swarm. So now you use Kubernetes cluster, it can handle your auto scaling load balancing. We would be discussing it in the next modules, but as of now you can just take it as this is kind of a service provided to you on the Azure portal. Okay, so on the Azure, there are two types of load balancer. One is basic, one is standard. We already have discussed about availability sets and availability zones. I will again brief you here. But if you are keeping your machines on availability sets, then you will have to follow a basic load balancer. If you are keeping your machine in availability zone, then you will have to follow the standard load balancer. Only this is a choice as per your purpose. Okay, you just need to make a choice and just select your options. Let's again discuss about availability sets and the zones. As I said, availability set is the concept or is the idea is available to you only inside one data center. Inside one data center, racks are there. Three particular racks are in one management zone, and these racks are having the separations. If you are talking about horizontal separation, that is your update domains. If you are talking about vertical separations, these are your fault domains. In one management zone, I already gave you complete structure and everything. So in one management zone, you have three racks and servers are placed inside that. So these three racks are three fault domains, FT0, FT1, FT2. Why we are calling them as fault domain? Because each and every rack is connected with separate power source and the network source and the switches. If anything is happening or any fault is coming to particular rack, it is complete one fault domain. So obviously there would be a downtime, right? Dead time, downtime, whatever you are saying. So fault domain are a group of virtual machines that share a common set of power source, hardware, network switches that share a single point of failure. A VM is an availability set are placed in at least two fault domains. That is all about your selection. Please, like they say that please keep your machine at least in two fault domains, at least in two racks. If something is happening to the one rack, you will be having a kind of backup with another rack, which would be following the different power sources. Similarly, you are having like a limit is there 20 update domains UD0 to UD19 depends upon the length of the height of the rack actually how many virtual machines you can place in a rack. It depends upon the height of rack. It depends upon the height of your data center as well. Okay. Why we are calling it as an update domain? Because if any kind of patching and updations are going on to the machine, so one time one machine updation is not possible, and one time all machines updation is also not possible. They would be in a state of rebooting, right? So that's why it's not possible to reboot them all at the same time. So they thought, okay, why not to reboot the machine in a row, not in a column, okay? Just I'm talking about matrix in a row, in a horizontal way. So what all the machines are coming in a horizontal way, all the machines can go for a updation or patching at one time. They would be rebooting, they would be in the rebooting state. Other horizontal rows, you will be having safe, no dead time, no downtime. Right, so this is the separation of the availability set, but don't confuse yourself. Availability sets are inside the data center only. Okay, so update domain allows Azure to perform incremental or rolling upgrades across a deployment. During plant maintenance, only one update domain is rebooted at a time. Right, so if you want a detailed description and a very detailed architecture and the diagram of this management zone, availability sets, update for domains, power sources, network switches. So please follow my video of availability architecture, high availability architecture. Fine, but here just keep in mind if you are keeping your machines in set, follow the basic load balancer. Similarly, zones are there. Again, I will repeat, there is a geography. Inside geography, you are having the regions. Inside the regions, you are having the data centers. So one data center cannot be called it as a availability zone, right? Because one data center, no redundancy, no replicas, no backups, no chance to protect your data center failures. That's why in a region, if you're having multiple availability zone like 2, 3 or more than 3, then you can call it as a availability zone, right? So here again, I will follow the same thing that if you are having the machines and you are keeping in the availability zones, then follow the standard load balancer. Again, please follow up my video for high availability architecture. That is the separate module I just like created the video for you. VM scale set. Okay, so we discussed about the load balancer, that available machines I can attach in the backend of the load balancer and it would redirect me to the particular application at the site. But what if all the attached machines on the backend of load balancer are going down at the same time? I know this is a rare scenario, but it can be a situation. I cannot rely, right? Yes. So virtual machine recreation, virtual machine resizing, all these concepts are not with the load balancer. Load balancer will follow only the virtual machine you are attaching on the back end of it, either standard or basic. It cannot resize your machine. If machines are down, it cannot recreate your machine. Or else, let's say another scenario, if I'm working on real-time environment, production environment, I'm having two machines ready with me, two servers ready with me with some compute power. And sometime the time can come that I'm feeling, okay, my attached compute resources to the VMs are not capable to bear the load of my work right now. So within 1 minute of time, I need another machine. Here, as we discussed about imaging, as we discussed about a snapshot, as we discussed about many things, nothing can help me out. I just need a kind of automatic thing so that my machines can recreate as per my need, that too very in a very small amount of time. Or else, if the load balancer also working the machine in the back end, if these machines are going down, I need to attach it with some kind of automation, some kind of automatic service, that if the machines are down, that time only new machine should create and automatically attach to the load balancer, just to have a very secure structure, right? So this is something called skill set. Here you can see four options. Set of identical VM mostly created from image. VMs automatically spin up as demand go high. As demand goes down, additional VM are removed. The process can be manual, automated, or a combination of both. Okay, so machines can create it automatically, and conditions you can apply as per you. If you want it to be manual, so whenever you are feeling okay, I'm in need, just put there 7, just put there 8. So manually machines will recreate as per the configuration you already have provided to the previous machines. Okay, if you want, you can resize it. That is one option we already have seen. Custom means you can just provide a condition: if the workload on my working CPUs is increasing by 50 to 70%, within 1 minute of time or within 5 minutes of time, start creating the machine, same machines, okay, same configuration. So just start creating the machines like 5 to 7, 7 to 10, whatever. Similarly, as here it is written, as demand goes down as well. So you can set up their scale in production as well. If the load on my CPU is decreasing, then decrease my extra created machine. Because why would you pay, right, whenever it's not needed? It is complete automatic structure. So actually, when we are talking about high availability, or when we are talking about end-to-end highly available solution, so that time availability set, availability zone, load balancing and auto scaling, all these things comes into picture. So this is something, the structure created here, that is something called redundancy at every level. If your machines are in need of very high redundancy and the availability, you can have your machines into the load balancer. Similarly, if your SQL servers are there, so there is one concept called SQL mirroring. Okay, so that is a separate something called failover groups. You can keep your SQL servers there, so you can create different kinds of databases and different servers, and you can just have the replica, and you can just go for the sharing of databases in the other SQL servers. That is something called SQL mirroring. So this is all about end-to-end highly available solutions. At each and every stage, you can have the redundancy. You can create this kind of cluster to have the redundancies at its best level. So thanks for the day. Keep me following up for the lab session of all the things that we have discussed in this module. So keep me following up. Thanks.